Hey everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to another Civilization 6 video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving some analysis and thoughts on the new Vietnam civilization from the reveal trailer we've got. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Make sure you let me know what you think to the civ down in the comments. Let me know what I've missed. Let me know what you think is important. And yeah, let's dive in. So let's start off with Vietnam's leader, who is Lady Trio. Now, I said it was someone else yesterday and you all told me in the comments I was wrong, and yeah, you were right, I was wrong. It is Lady Trio, so well done to everybody who said that in the comments, and especially that person who found this on Reddit and kind of managed to stop the video at the exact right point to get a look, so well done. I didn't see that. But yeah, Lady Trio's unique ability is called Drive Out the Aggressor, and what that means is that Vietnam gets +5 combat strength for units fighting in rainforest, marsh or woods tiles, and also gets +1 movement if they begin their turn there. So essentially this is very good for units, and what makes it even better for these units is that both these bonuses are doubled if the tile is in your territory. So for units which start in your territory, they'll be getting +10 combat strength if they're on either a rainforest, marsh or woods tile, and also +2 movement, and movement is very big in warfare, so that's good. So what do I think to this bonus? Well, as with a lot of Vietnam's bonuses, these are territory-specific bonuses, which is a limiting factor. I don't think you can argue that a territory-specific bonus isn't a limiting factor. However, Vietnam will surely have a heavy starting bias to these types of tiles, so in the lands around Vietnam's starting position, this bonus will be really useful, as my voice goes, which is really useless. Another thing to say is that because this bonus becomes +10 combat strength and +2 movement in your own territory, this is obviously a brilliant defensive bonus, especially in the early game. An extra +10 combat strength early game is a big deal. I do think there's actually scope to use this in an aggressive manner as well. I maybe will mention this at the end, but especially if you're playing not on deity, that +5 combat strength in those tiles is going to be very useful and could help you maybe capture in early civilization, but on deity that could be a little bit tough. So another couple of things to mention on this. No big surprise, Vietnam has a big defensive bonus. Obviously through history, Vietnam has proved an incredibly difficult place to try and conquer, and it's great that they've reflected that in Civilization 6. I wouldn't have expected anything else from them. And one final gameplay mechanic thing to mention here, and we will keep revisiting this point throughout the video, but because this bonus focuses on rainforests, woods, and marsh tiles, it makes sense not to chop trees or clear marshes, which is going to be quite strange for some players, including myself, because it's something we do a lot of. So once again, with the new Frontiers Pass, they're really changing up what you can and cannot do with civilizations. So after starting with a pretty strong and a pretty unique bonus with the Drive Out the Aggressor bonus, let's now move on and talk about Vietnam's specific civilization bonus, which is called 9 Dragon River Delta. And what this means is a few things. I'm actually going to split this up as we go through it, so it kind of is a bit simpler. So the first thing to mention is that all land specialty districts can only be built on rainforest, marsh or woods tiles. Now obviously that reflects what we just saw there with the Drive Out the Aggressor bonus, them tiles being very useful to Vietnam. Like I mentioned in the first part, it's kind of a bit of a limiting factor because you don't get it across all tiles, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's still really good, and you'll see that as we move on. So the second part of this bonus means that that Vietnam receives the following yields for every building on these features, and these features being the rainforest, marsh or woods tiles. So for every building on a woods tile, you get +1 culture. For every building on a rainforest tile, you get +1 science. And for every building on a marsh tile, you get +1 production. What it means is that it will be important to build up your districts on these tiles. By that, I'm just saying get as many buildings in your districts as possible. So that's going to be very, very useful. I like this. I think it's unique. And I'm really happy to see them try different things out. So the final part of this bonus which I want to talk about is that woods can be planted with the medieval fair civic instead of having to wait till pretty much the late game with the conservation civic, which tends to come in the modern era. So what does this mean? Well, it means two things predominantly. Firstly, it means that Vietnam has a little bit of a problem, right? In that if you want to settle a city where there's no woods, rainforests or marsh tiles, or very few, that's going to create you a big problem because you're not going to be able to build districts, because as we discussed earlier, all districts can only be built on a rainforest, marsh or woods tile. So in some ways, that on the face of it would put quite a few locations out of the question for building tiles. What this bit of the bonus means, though, is that you can go and plant woods tiles pretty early, which is going to allow you to build districts where you otherwise wouldn't have been able to. So it kind of solves that problem there. And also the +1 culture per building you'll get from building districts on a woods tile is going to be something you're going to be able to make more of when you can create more woods tiles, obviously. And the second thing that this does is that it means that you can maybe be a bit more willing to chop some woods tiles down. Obviously, as Vietnam, for the vast majority of the time, you're not going to be wanting to do chops, especially with rainforest tiles, which you cannot get back. So yeah, if you have a spare builder charge, for example, and there's a woods tile you just want to get that production pretty quickly, then you could do that, because you can always plant the woods tile back later on in the game. Now, overall, I quite like this bonus. It fits with what we talked about right at the start of this video. It really is tile specific how well you'll do as Vietnam, and I like how they're doing this and taking each civilization in the New Frontiers Pass in a bit of a different direction and trying different things out. I also think this is quite strong when you think of the bonus shields. That kind of bonus production, science and culture is going to make a much more well-rounded civilization for you to play as, and going to allow you to excel in quite a number of areas if you can get them buildings out quickly. So Vietnam's unit district is the Tahan. I apologise if that's the wrong pronunciation, but anyway, this district is unique to Vietnam, and it replaces the encampment. It's cheaper to build. How much cheaper I couldn't exactly work out, but it does look a fair bit cheaper, and it does not require population to build. Essentially, what you should do is build one of these in every single city, and it's definitely going to be worth it, as you'll see as we move on. So the big bonus with this district is that it gives +2 culture for each adjacent district, and once flight is researched, the district gets a tourism output equal to its cultural output. So essentially, you'll get as much tourism as you do culture once you research flight. What this means is two things. Firstly, city planning is going to be absolutely vital. You know, getting +2 culture from each adjacent district is well worth your time to make sure you city plan right. So yeah, do some city planning, make sure you're planning all your districts out nicely, as you probably usually would do anyway. The second part to this is that Vietnam is certainly therefore going to be useful for a tourism victory, and I'm sure that a lot of people will try and take Vietnam down that way. But even if you do not want to try and get a tourism victory, Vietnam is going to be good because you'll be able to use that bonus culture to get down the civics tree nicely. And I think anything that gets you well down the civics tree or well down the tech tree is a good bonus. So I like this bonus a lot. The final thing I want to mention with this unique district is that it does not actually count as a specialty district, which actually is quite important, because that means I think you can build it on any tile which is not adjacent to the city centre. Now, obviously, with all the other specialty districts in the game, we've got that niche kind of requirement for where you can build them. It's got to be a woods tile, a rainforest tile, or a marsh tile. But it does look like with this unique district, because it's not classed as a specialty district, that you'll be able to build it on any single tile. Another thing I want to mention is I think it's worth building these districts on woods tiles where possible, because obviously woods tiles give you bonus culture for every building in them. So, you know, if you can get that extra culture, you'll get extra tourism later on in the game. So it's worth considering that. So the final Vietnamese unique bit we want to look at is the Voi Chien, which is their unique medieval ranged unit, and its elephants, which are really cool. So what this is a more expensive replacement for the crossbowman, but even though it's more expensive, it's definitely going to be worth it, and it actually looks far superior in my opinion. So the first thing to note about this unit is that they can move after attacking. That's very good. I believe we've had that in civs before. And when you can move after it, can you move after attacking with Gran Colombia? I feel like you can. But when you can do that, it's very, very good for military combat. It allows you to really use your unit and not really risk its safety. A lot of the time, you'll move a unit into a position to attack and you'll be like, oh god, what's coming the other way? This could kill me. But obviously, with this unit, you're going to be able to retreat it and get it to safety after attacking, which is very, very good. And to go along with this, the unit also has additional movement. It looks like it's got a base movement of 3, but in a second we'll talk about how that can actually be leveled up. But yeah, extra movement and the ability to move after attacking is very, very good. Another thing to mention is that these units are stronger when defending, they have greater sight. So overall, we've got a really, really strong unit on our hands here. They are very useful, and when you combine the unit stats with the 9 Dragon River Delta bonus, which we talked about earlier, there is a pretty good possibility that you're going to have a medieval ranged unit with over 50 combat strength and 5 movement points. And if you think about 5 movement points, like I said a second ago, you're going to be able to get it into battle, attack the enemy, and then get out again pretty safely if you can have 5 movement points. So, all in all, this is setting up Vietnam to be a very, very defensive civilization. Which way you take it in depends what difficulty you're on, but I think there's quite a lot of scope to do a lot of things with Vietnam. But ultimately, you're going to be able to defend your borders very, very well. So just to round this video off, I want to give some extra tips. Now, there's lots of other tips I'm sure you could give, so do let me know what you think to Vietnam down in the comments. Leave your tips, leave any wonders you think could be useful, stuff like that. Let me know what you think to those things down in the comments. But here are a couple of my own. So firstly, Vietnam is going to work nicely with the new Preserve District. With the bonus housing that district will give, and with the fact that Vietnam is not going to kind of work on every single tile and make everything disgusting, that bonus housing you'll get from that district could actually allow you to play quite tall with Vietnam, and that's something I'll be trying out, because not many civs, maybe only the Maya, allow you to really give playing tall a go. I wonder if Vietnam could give that possibility. And the second tip I want to give, and this is something I'm considering, if you don't play on deity especially, that +5 combat strength and +1 movement you get regardless of whether you're in your own territory or not, if you're on a rainforest tile, woods tile or marsh tile, you could try and use that early game to maybe take a neighbour's city, maybe even take a neighbour's civilization if you're in a good enough position. But yeah, maybe try and capture some early cities if you're feeling out there and you want to give it a go, because that +5 combat strength will be useful if you can get your units in the right position. Yes, primarily it's a defensive bonus, but if you can capture that land early and really get yourself a nice base, nobody's really going to be able to touch you because Vietnam's so defensible. So if you can get that nice base to start with and then fortify, you will be in a very good position. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you want to see another one of my Civilization 6 videos, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll also be looking at Kublai Khan and all the other content which comes out, so if you want to see that, make sure you sub. Also, make sure you hit the like button if you've enjoyed, and follow me on Twitter if you want to. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex, and I will see you in another video soon.